Okay, we got Are You a Master or a Performer from Daryl Talks Games. Okay, what is going on?
Is a video where someone is using just Tifa to beat arguably the hardest boss in Final Fantasy Rebirth. A feat I couldn't do with the full party, let alone take no damage. Oh yeah, and it's on hard mode. This
Oh,
person
dang.
has created a hanging device in Tears of the Kingdom that will literally slap a Lionel to death. I just beat Cyberpunk for the first time ever, so naturally I'm seeing a lot of clips like this one in my feed. What 1,000 hours of Cyberpunk looks like. I sat slack-jawed as this person effortlessly danced through the sky and pulled off insane tricks and combat techniques that I couldn't have even imagined trying.
Bro, that reminds me of that one where the Dishonored thing. Someone goes through like a Dishonored level, like entire like stealthy, but it's like super speedy. That's what that reminded me
My
of.
playthrough looks like a chimp nibbling on a wad of Play-Doh. This was like watching Michelangelo sculpt David. And we've all seen clips like this. Someone playing a game at a level
Oh, that's like Let Me Solo Her. Bro, that's crazy.
worlds beyond what you could ever imagine doing yourself. And if you're like me, typically your reaction is something like, cool, it's awesome that you could do this, I had no idea. And then you lock your phone and wipe. But these clips wouldn't exist if there were not people out there who do much, much, much more than just roll credits.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me wonder, what possesses a person to want to go to this length in a game?
Huh. What makes a person want to go to this length? I'm not entirely sure. Why do people want to break a game down to this level to just absolutely style on it? Oh, I mean, well, initially, I mean, all of those things, like even like the hard mode version of games, they're meant to be beat, but it's to what degree of margin like the developer is allotted the player to beat like a part of a game or a boss or something. Like on stuff that's really hard, like you're given like a very small, if anything, margin. But like on easier games or whatever, like your margin for error is probably way greater.
To spend so many hours relentlessly experimenting, maximizing, learning, and showing off. A reason beyond just liking the game that much,
Yeah.
or achievement hunting, because the cop out answer is, of course, they just like it that much.
The cop out answer. They just like it that much. I mean, you could like you could go a little bit deeper, and it's like that person felt that developer put like a lot of time and effort into the game, which in and of itself, if you can feel that in a game, it's like, okay, the developer put a lot of time and effort into like this boss or this level or whatever, so I want to put an equal amount of effort into just making the game look as cool as humanly possible. I mean, another example, there are people that are still playing Devil May Cry 5, and they are doing like day 598 of beating Virgil every day. And if I've seen, like, if you watch one of those videos, they'll be like 2 or 3 minutes or however long, and they're just like beating Virgil in the most crazy cinematic way humanly possible. It's so cool looking.
But that's too simple. I loved Rebirth, I loved Cyberpunk, I loved Tears of the Kingdom, but I didn't express that love through playing them for copious amounts of hours and multiple playthroughs, and according to this poll I made, neither did a great many.
In general, which playstyle do you most enjoy and tend to engage in? Let me know why below. Rolling credits on a game and moving on to a different one, multiple playthroughs, experimentation, several hours on a game. Most people want to just roll credits and then go to a different one versus multiple playthroughs. Well, that also depends on the type of game you're playing. Does the game support multiple playthroughs and experimentation? Well, then that's probably going to be higher than, like, say, a Call of Duty campaign where you just play the campaign once and then just go on. So I mean, it kind of depends, but it's fair.
You. Love for a game can be expressed in many different ways. So, what makes a person spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours on something that they may not even like that much?
Not recommend 800 hours.
Is there a psychological predisposition to playing a game like this? Spoilers,
Nice.
the answer is yes, and involves something that psychologists call goal orientation. And through a pile of psych research, some insights on how different games might affect your playstyle preference and how your parents might have affected this, hopefully this will give you some clarity on why you are the way that you are. In a nutshell, I want to help you answer if you are a master or a performer.
Oh.
And
What was this? What game was this? Near Automata. Yeah.
help you understand what that means. If you liked these videos, you're gonna like this one.
The personality one. Yep. Are you a binger or a drifter? Yep. That was a good one. Personality affects your anger.
And if you already think you're probably a master because you love to tinker in an effort to master,
I am by no means a master, but no. Even I'm trying to think about some games that I've got a lot of hours in. I'm still like not a master, but like, what do you consider a master? I am by no means a master.
a skill, you're really gonna like today's sponsor, Boot.dev. Video games are, for many of us, a chance to prove something to ourselves, an opportunity to get lost in the mechanics, express ourselves, and for many of us, to conquer something that at one point felt impossible. Maybe coding is something like this for you. Maybe you've always been interested in it, but far too intimidated to actually take on that Herculean task. Boot.dev is here to tell you that you can, in fact, learn. Python, Go, JavaScript, TypeScript, these are courses you can take on Boot, but I want you to think of them as individual journeys with bosses and obstacles to overcome, because that's exactly how Boot works. They want to ensure you aren't bored and that learning feels like a natural progression. Lessons are built like missions in a game. You'll earn XP, levels, achievements, and complete quests to keep your learning immersive. There are even bi-monthly boss fights where the community rallies together and gains bonus XP for each lesson.
Is this the Crab Champs, dude? That's the Crab Champs guy.
Completed during the event. The folks at Boot.dev believe that you can't learn to code without doing what you'll actually do on the job, which is writing a lot of code and building real projects. Because this isn't just about learning. They want to help you form a skill set that you can then use to build a career. They even have lessons to show you how to find a job. You like working from home? You want to work in a field where the median salary in the US in 2024 was over $100,000?
Oh,
Do you
shit.
like a challenge? If you're ready to take the leap, go to boot.dev and use my code DarylTalksGames to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. Always a pleasure working with boot.dev, so thanks again for the sponsor. Now back to the show. Cast your mind back to when you were in the 5th grade. What
Oh, boy.
school was like, what game.
Bro, was it? Yeah, it was probably Pokemon. It wasn't on this one though. It was on like a purple, like translucent Game Boy. And I think,
games you enjoyed, what friends you had.
yeah, Pokemon Blue and Red.
And once you situate yourself in that memory, I want you to imagine that one day in class, the teacher pulls you aside and gives you a few small puzzles. They aren't super hard, you are pleasantly surprised at how well you've done, and the teacher then says to you, "Great job, you must be really smart." How does it make you feel to hear that? Maybe back.
Great job, you must be really smart. I never really thought I was smart, like, at all. I was just like average. There was nothing special about me. I think I had like some C's, some B's, and like maybe an A here or there.
Back in school, you were actually told something exactly like this. Perhaps you were placed in the smart kid classes and labeled gifted and talented. Maybe you really liked that praise. Hell, maybe you heard it all the way through college, but let me revise our story ever so slightly. Let's rewind. You do the puzzle, you succeed, you feel good, and then the teacher says to you, "Great job, you must have worked really hard."
Oh, okay. So I hear the whole talent versus hard work argument. Oh,
How does this one make you feel?
That one make me feel better because I did the hard work. I did the hard thing. Versus the other one, great job. You must be really smart. Well, you must be really smart kind of implies, I mean, at least to me, it's like, well, nobody is just inherently smart about a topic. You have to acquire that knowledge, so you have to put in the work. Uh, but like he's given the reference of fifth grade or whatever. So you still have to put in like some work. Like initially trying to memorize your timetables of like 1 to 12. Um, you just have to like just go at it like over and over and over again.
It's entirely possible that they sound the same to you. You kicked ass in the discussion. But it's shocking just how staggering of a difference these two forms of praise actually make. This is Dr. Carol Dweck, and over the course of her career, she has done a ton of research on people's personal beliefs about their own intelligence and ability.
Oh, what was that? What was that?
This is Dr. Carol Dweck, and over the course of her career, she has done a ton of research on people's personal beliefs.
Mindsets matter. A fixed mindset, intelligence is fixed. Growth mindset, intelligence can be developed.
Beliefs about their own intelligence and abilities. And our little thought experiment is a study that she ran in several different forms over the years. In essence, elementary schoolers will be split into groups and do a series of easy, nonverbal puzzles. One group was praised for their intelligence.
Wow, you did really well. You must be really smart at this.
Another was praised for their effort.
Wow, you did really well. You must have tried really hard at these.
And of course, the control group wasn't praised at all. Sorry, Timmy. In her original study, only
Fuck you, Timmy.
one sentence of feedback was uttered because, as Dr. Dweck explains, we had a hunch that one line might be enough to see an effect, which is an absolute mic drop because that's exactly what happened. When the students were then offered either a harder puzzle or another puzzle of a similar difficulty, the majority of the students praised for effort took the harder puzzle. Those praised for their smarts actually took the easier.
Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting. But what do the kids get as a reward whenever they do a puzzle? Because if the reward is like, I don't know, let's say like, ooh, you get $5. Okay? You do a puzzle, you solve the puzzle, you get $5. It doesn't matter like what kind of puzzle it is. You just always get $5. Okay? Why would you as a kid choose the harder puzzle to get $5 versus, oh, I'm gonna get $5 and I got the option of this the harder puzzle this versus the easier puzzle? Well, if I'm gonna get $5 either way, I'm gonna take the easier puzzle. All right. Where's the reward aspect for this?
The smart kids did not want the business, but the ones told that they worked hard were very Goku-ishly ready to be pummeled for the love of the game. They invited the challenge with open arms. So what exactly is happening here? Well, these forms of feedback
Doing it for the love of the game. I mean, yeah, that's fine and dandy, but I mean, yes, these are just kids trying to do like a basic experiment. I mean, but real life doesn't operate for the love of your favorite thing. A lot of the times, the reward for doing good at a thing is usually money.
back to our young malleable minds immediately begin to mold our self-belief and subsequently our motive to try. By telling students, hey, good job, you must be smart, it immediately places the reason for their success on something about them that they have no control over. It'd be like telling your niece that she bowled a strike because she has a lot of aura.
Oh my god. Or maybe,
What the hell does she do with that? On the other hand, by telling students that their hard work was what paid off, that gives them something actionable to use moving forward. And it makes difficult tasks less of a threat to their identity and more of a chance to grow. Like Dr. Dweck says, when we praise children for their intelligence, we tell them that this is the name of the game. Look smart, don't risk making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Yeah. I mean, this is a
look smart, don't
look smart, don't risk making mistakes. This is what society tells us, like, as of right now, from the United States perspective. Just look smart. Don't make any mistakes. Don't take risks. I mean, we can see that across like every industry. Video games, well, not really construction. uh I mean, I don't know, just like even video games. It's like people don't want to make a risky video game. Why did this happen? When we praise children for their intelligence, Dweck wrote in her study summary, we tell them that this is the name of the game. Look smart, don't risk making mistakes, and that's what fifth graders had done. They'd chosen to look smart and avoid the risk of being embarrassed. Well, I mean, what was the conditions of solving the puzzle or doing a puzzle? I mean, I'm just completely, I don't know. Like, are the kids supposed to just stand up in front of class and try and do the puzzle? I'm just like learning a little bit more about the little test thing.
Risk making mistakes. In the long term, what this simple distinction in verbiage manifests as is two distinct, very well
Oh my
researched
God.
and
I fucking had this. Yeah, it's like down there still, but I eventually took all the cards out. Bro, I organized my shit like this too. Why is there just a random Blastoise? There's not. Oh wait, was this a star or a diamond? I know. Oh dang it, that's like common, a star, or how'd it go? Rare. It was like common, uncommon, rare. I mean, that's a star. Was Cloyster a star? I think so. No, Articuno's a star. How is this shit being organized? This is the most unorganized Pokemon binder I've ever seen. Even I, as a little kid, kind of organized it according to element. But I even organized it, like I put all the water with the water, but then I made it like all the evolution lines like right on top of each other.
Define motivations.
Oh, what's that kid got? He's throwing out the Blastoise. With a Nintendo Power magazine. Oh my God.
A mastery motivation, the
Oh yeah. Oh, you using the Monster Hunter Wild shit. There's that Guardian Rathlos. Ooh.
desire to do well at something for the sake of learning it and finding competence in it, and a performance motivation, the desire to excel because from a social standpoint, it makes one appear competent. And at face value, you can probably already start to imagine which one you tend to have based on your upbringing and perhaps how it affects your playstyle when you game. If you relate to
Do you want to master the thing for yourself, or do you just want to get pretty good at a thing in order to impress the people around you? Well, in an absolute sense, I can imagine these two things being like completely separate, but I think more realistically, there's a little bit probably of overlap within these. People that become masters in a way are performing for the sake of others' approval. I mean, that's just a fact.
the players from the start of the video that experiment and intimately learn the mechanics of the game, you might enjoy doing things that way because, like the effort kids, the ever-growing challenge and the allure of mastery is most satisfying to you. On the other hand, if you're like me and were placed in the gifted and talented classes growing up, you may not really play games specifically for the difficulty. I'm here to enjoy the story. I'm here for the vibes, the atmosphere, the music, the chance to do something funny or laugh with a friend.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the game for me personally. I think, like, depending on the game, it's like, well, because, I don't know, for me, like, the game's reputation kind of precedes itself for me. Because I'll, like, watch a review about a game. It's like, oh, is this, like, a mastery type of game? Or is this, like, simply a one-and-done type of game? Like, just do one playthrough and just, you got, like, you can get, like, 90% of the story, 95% of the game done with just like an initial playthrough. And it's like, okay, that's it.
Or Cry Until I'm Numb. You enjoyed the cabaret side quest in Yakuza 0 because it required a deeper understanding of what your girls are good at and what your guests want to see. I enjoyed it because the makeover menu music sent my soul into orbit. We are not the same.
Bro, I don't know what happened with the sound, but I literally thought someone was like on my side.
I'm much more of a performer. I want something to take me for a ride, not something to study and find expertise in. So if you happen to participate in that poll, more than likely your goal orientation played a part in your answer. If you
I mean, you could also kind of organize this and use like synonymous terms of like what was I gonna say? Like a casual versus a tryhard type of thing. Most people are casual whenever they like consume like content or play video games or whatever. Most people like don't know like the hardcore shit of about like a movie, a show, or something. That's like, oh, I read the books first. The books are way better. It's like, well, yeah.
You tend to deep dive into games and play them for every penny they're worth and then some, I'd be willing to bet you play with a mastery motivation in mind. If you're like me and typically just run the base game and move on, you are likely
Oh my God, the Shadow of the Colossus. Oh baby. Oh, that's so good.
playing with more of a performance motivation in mind. And before we go too much further, I want to make it as clear as I possibly.
Or what about something in between where it's like you played a game like years ago, but then every couple years you go back and play it again? I mean, like for me, like I think I've played Black Flag like 3 times now. Once initially, again like many years ago, and then again like a couple years ago, and I'm probably gonna go play it again because it's like the best Assassin's Creed.
Possibly can. That despite how Dr. Dweck's research frames it, in the long term, neither motivation is inherently better than the other.
Ooh.
It does seem.
Yeah, like neither motivation is better. Like, I mean, I think there kind of is, but you have to think about it in terms of one motivation leads to this, the other motivation leads to this. The betterness of it doesn't matter. It's just this motivation leads to these behaviors. This motivation leads to those behaviors.
That mastery is a healthier perspective for deeply learning something.
I mean, because if you think about it in terms of like jobs and like financial stuff or investing or whatever, and like why would you, like let's say you're doing like a thing, why would you try to take more risk to do a thing when you can just take the easy route to do a thing when it's like seemingly harder, and like you got like investors or to like worry about, or what is it, like the board of what is it called, like the board of investors or something? It's like there's like a fiduciary responsibility for you to do the best thing for the company's profits or something. And if that thing is taking the easy route, well then you need to take the easy route and not the hard route.
And in many cases it is. But that ability to truly lock in and learn about something at an incredibly high level often comes at a cost. Have you ever met someone who kind of only plays FromSoft titles or only plays games on their hardest difficulty? They probably justify this with phrases like, playing something easy just doesn't do it for me anymore, or I don't know, I just can't enjoy this unless I hate myself along the way. These folks
I have to play that game. God dang it.
are probably mastery oriented. They get the most thrill out of a genuine challenge. But it might
Why are you putting Monster Hunter Wilds in there for the challenging part?
cost them a ton of games that they'd never consider playing. Believe it or not, this happens in school too, which is where most of this research was done. This 2019 paper found that mastery-oriented university students perform well on exams only when the subject matter was interesting to them.
I mean, yeah. Well, let me see. This study provided the most... Okay, when do mastery and performance goals facilitate academic achievement? This study provided the most complete test of the Learning Agenda framework to date. Its findings support each of the framework's hypothesis. Okay, performance goals predicted a vigilant study strategy, whereas mastery goals predicted an interest-based studying strategy. Those two strats had opposing effects on students. Achievement 2. Vigilance predicted high exam grades, providing performance goals a beneficial indirect effect so long as teachers were relatively clear about how to succeed. Interest-based studying instead predicted low exam grades, providing mastery goals a harmful indirect effect in courses that use mostly closed format exams. So, like, if providing goals to predict indirect effects, as long as teachers were relatively clear. If you're given like a direct thing, like you need to hit a 90 to get an A, okay, that's like directly what you need to do. Okay, that's like a thing that's objective. Like versus something else that is like, I don't know, maybe like a persuasive essay. Like, did you persuade me? You know, that's kind of like subjective.
They excelled when it was something they gave a damn about and performed poorly on other topics. Performance-oriented students, with their anxiety and pressure to be the good students they think they are, did very well across all topics as long as the class demands were clear. And it's fascinating to see this leak into the comments from that poll. Some people who do put in the gargantuan sum of hours tend to either do exactly that or just bounce off of a game entirely with the comments from that poll. Some people who do.
I've realized that the more I love a game, the more willing I am to do multiple playthroughs to get the most out of its story and its characters. Like if the routes or dialogues or other such variables do differ in my other runs, then it grants me the sense of reward that wouldn't be possible the first time through. This is great, provided the game allows such things, because you know, like most people, if you're playing a game and there's like a good guy like path and a bad guy path, I mean, I think it's pretty much understood now that like developers mostly spend time and effort onto the good guy path because multiple studies come out and show if you're only going to play a game once, you're only going to play the good guy path. You're not going to go play it again and do the evil side. So the developers know that, and they don't put as much time and effort into the bad guy side.
Do put in the gargantuan sum of hours tend to either do exactly that or just bounce off of a game entirely with no in between. Some have to 100%.
I need to 100% a game before getting to the next one.
A game before they can move on. Others stopped gaming like this because they don't have time to do so anymore. Masters are actively looking for something to get hopelessly swept.
I want to really fall in love with a game, trying out different systems and builds, multiple outcomes, lots to explore, and new characters to meet and get to know. That's my jam.
For a long time, even if it means they miss a ton of other stuff. But if you fall in that slight majority,
too many games out there to experience to stick to just a few.
With me, oh man, you may not be pulling off stunts like this or putting in hours like this, but you're likely trying way more games and rolling credits on way more games of varying genres. If the game isn't that hard, that's okay. For performers, it's more of a social experience anyways. We aren't playing Monster Hunter Wiki because we're in love with the mechanics. We're playing because it's fun to swing a hammer, and we just want to be part of the session. And because we want that plate. We don't achievement hunt because it gives us a chance to experience the game's strategies and interactions at their fullest. We look up a guide for that. We just want the platinum so that we can flex it. We aren't playing that fighting game because we like the nitty-gritty details of the meta. We're playing it because it feels good to socially compare when we win. Performers, because they are so socially driven instead of process driven, tend not to need an overwhelming inherent interest in a topic to excel in it like masters do. If everyone is playing a particular game, if all of their friends are playing it, fear of missing out will set in stronger for the performer.
Ooh, for the performer. Oh yeah, that is pretty true. Oh my god. Because the performer is like, yeah, the performer's always bouncing around to like different games. So the performer always wants to play the new hotness. And the master is just wanting to just get good at the one thing.
performer and drive interest through that avenue, especially if it is a particular type of performer. Some psychologists make the distinction that there are two types of performance motivation: appearance-based and competitive-based.
Appearance-based, that's probably like chasing after like cosmetic things, collect all the things, collect all the houses, deck out all the houses with all the things. Competitive, I mean, the ultimate form of competitive is just get the trophy from the LAN of that game. Look at any like competitive shooter. You know, climb the ladder, get the top rank. Maybe try out for some comp teams. Start scrimming. Go through a couple tournaments and then get the dub.
Appearance-based goals tend to lead to a host of maladaptive outcomes, such as self.
Oh my god. Maladaptive outcomes. Oh, that's so funny. Wait, really? I would have thought the opposite in video games. It's the people that are like super competitive, because in video games, the people that are the most winningest competitors are the ones that play the game the most. And you know a thing or two about competition. It's toxic, no matter if it's a video game or a real sport, even at the tippy top. It's toxic everywhere, and I would say toxicity is a maladaptive trait. So how does that logic?
Handicapping and health.
Like if you're going for what was it, appearance based, like completion or whatever, it's like, okay, that's like the goal. I'm gonna get every house in Oblivion. I'm gonna like deck it out with all the upgrades. I'm gonna make like a treasure room and like save all my little diamonds and shit and just drop them off in the room and be like, oh, I did all the things. I got all the houses. Did all the quests, all the dungeons, and then now I'm done. I don't know, but that's like my mindset. Maybe I'm wrong.
Help avoidance. This is what Dr. Dweck typically observed in students who were told they were smart. This suddenly gave them a fragile self-image that they sought to protect instead of being engaged with the material itself.
Oh, I guess this is like from the perspective of like the fifth graders still. Okay.
And it cost them. Later in that original study, they had both groups do an extremely difficult puzzle. Where the mastery kids typically didn't mind failing and had fun with it, the performance kids broke down, assuming that their failure was evidence that they weren't really smart at all.
You seem to have more trouble with this one, and I want to know why you think that was.
Probably because I'm not good at these problems.
Appearance-based performers tend to go that route.
Two elements we know now often produce different effects. Appearance-based goals generally predict poor performance and other maladaptive outcomes such as self-handicapping and help avoidance. Competitive-based ones, by contrast, generally predict high achievement and adaptive outcomes, such as self-efficacy and self-regulation.
Competitive-based performers, however, generally tend to achieve more and have much more adaptive outcomes, such as self-efficacy and self-regulation.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm getting it like confused, because like I have to like rethink it like more in a more wholeheartedly way. Like competitive people in general, it depends on the personality though. Like there's a lot of different personalities in competition. If you're really competitive at a thing, it would be reasonable to think that one would do anything possible to get the number one spot in the thing. So because of that, you're going to look out for like anybody's help that wants to contribute to like your goal of getting the number one thing. Like, oh, I got to do this. I need help. I want to do that. I need help. Okay.
What this means is that even if you run completely on ego, that ego is one hell of a motivator. Every Goku needs a Vegeta, and this is exactly what you get if you're a performer who loves competition. You may not be in love with the mechanics or the strategy of Marvel Rivals, but if you care about winning enough, you will make room for them. You may not be drawn to FromSoft games or brutal platformers, but if your buddy beat one and won't stop talking about it, you might suddenly have something to prove.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your buddy couldn't care less what people think because he's mastery motivated. He plays Rivals because the strategy and technique tickles his brain. He plays because the depth of Elden Ring's build combinations are like brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts to his prefrontal cortex. He might enjoy
True. Brown cinnamon sugar is the best Pop-Tart.
fighting games because the frame data... Actually, I'm not convinced anyone likes fighting games, but you see my point. Alright, let's do a little mental check-in. I know almost all of you right now are watching this and have already decided that you are most certainly either a master or a performer. You've related to something I said about your upbringing or how you play or how you pick games. I hope that has provided some clarity about yourself, but before you go too far with that, it is critical that I speak to a mysterious third party that is watching.
Ooh.
The people who were screaming, "I think I'm both, man. What the fuck?"
What? I think I'm both? I mean, there's probably like a little bit of overlap.
What is going on? Am I gonna die? A 2015 study on 278 athletes found that when in a competition, athletes do their best work if they have both a high level of task goal orientation and ego goal orientation. To translate that, task is mastery, ego is performance. Basically, as long as they are not low in both forms, they are experiencing a positive mental state when they play. I bring this study up simply to say, you can have both, and in fact you probably do. If masters compare themselves to their past selves, and performers compare themselves to others, it stands to reason that you can do both of these things simultaneously, and according to this study, many athletes do. And in fact, if you do, you're more likely to experience that flow state that people talk about so much, where you're super engaged in the ever-growing challenge, which is exactly what makes video games such a magical time. So for the cascade of people who commented on the poll saying
the age-old "it depends" come in once again.
It depends, or that they do a little bit of both, of course you do. These motivations are not mutually exclusive. The best way to think about it is you likely have a mastery stat and a performance stat. They might both be high, they might both be low, they might be a mix of values, they may vary depending on the game or activity or mood, but they do make a difference in your decision making. Just like patience or empathy or introversion, they're personality traits that are a factor in your life and not a hard law that you're going to follow. But understanding these motivations, I think, is important for all of us, because knowing that you tend to be a master...
Bro. Me looking at this screen and not seeing like the little orange chest on every one of these squares, I'm just like, what are you doing, brother? You need to get to hunting.
Master may make you feel better about spending 200 hours on Monster Hunter and ignoring your backlog. This is just what you're built to do. Knowing you're a performer...
How you gonna have 200 hours and you don't even have those armors crafted, Daryl?
May make you not worry so much about leaving side quests and secret bosses undone.
Had enough of this, Josh.
If the challenge didn't entice you, listen to that feeling. You're trying to be honest with yourself. That's okay. Oh, and by the way, please don't bear resentment toward the people who taught you growing up for making you one way or the other. I know we made a big to-do about that talent versus effort praise study, but believe it or not, a study spanning several countries involving twins found that learning motivation is actually around 40% genetic. So regardless of how you were rewarded as a child, you were already predisposed to how you were going to be.
Oh, god damn it. Oh. If you're a kid, it goes in line with like the whole nature versus nurture thing. Oh my god. Like if your parents are like super rich and they're just like, they own some family businesses of whatever, they're gonna be like, okay, you get all these family businesses, it's gonna rake in millions of dollars. All you have to do is just go get like a bachelor or a master at this Ivy League school, and then we'll call it a day. Like, bro, I'd do that. I'm fucking 35, and I would, if someone offered me that deal, I'd still do that.
Don't be mad at your teachers. Be mad at your parents. And let's not forget that,
Yeah.
again, goal orientation is just a factor in your gaming habits. Growing up, the teacher might have been less of an influence than your family's financial situation. The neighbor kid might have had 3 consoles and a library of juicy goodness to pick from, but if all you had was a copy of Paper Mario, a Mad Catz, and a Dream, you were going to play every inch of that game because it's all you had.
Or up until the underwater level in Sonic on the old Sega Genesis. You play Sonic up until that level, and then you always die on that level because you're too retarded to figure out how to get past it. And now for the rest of your life, you are traumatized when you hear the underwater music of Sonic.
You discovered the Danger Mario build, actually. Think that could explain why you play the same shit 7 times over these days? Maybe your family could only afford to rent games from Blockbuster and it forced you to try a ton of different stuff, and that habit stuck with you. Maybe that's why you never finish anything. Maybe you're more of a performer and that led you to achievement hunting, which made you discover how cool a mechanic is in a game, which then led you to want to play other games on a deeper, more technical level.
Nice.
Did you just become a master? All of this to say, obviously, we are told a great many things growing up, and it's impossible to, in hindsight, perfectly trace the reverberations of what that symphony of praise and discipline and reinforcement actually did to us, let alone measure how that interacted with all of the habits we've cultivated since then. But the point of this video was not to label you one of 2 cute clickbaity buzzwords, but instead to help you understand more about yourself and those around you. That's all I ever really tried to do here. I hope today I succeeded. Regardless of the why you tick the way you do or the how you arrived here, just remember that it doesn't define you. It is a piece of you that you should seek to make peace with. Hey there, you. Thanks for watching this one. I kind of threw it together last second because, believe it or not, I was completely lost in Cyberpunk for the last month. Holy cow, what a game.
Nice.
If you enjoyed this and want to support the show,
Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to playing it yet. I will eventually.
so give it a like, comment if you're a master or a performer or somewhere in between down below, and hit that subscribe
I'm a special snowflake. I'm somewhere in the center.
button. And if you adore the show and want to help make it happen, join me on Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get access to editing live streams, creative input, your name in the credits, bloopers, all kinds of stuff. Shout out to this month's featured patrons: Christoph Stoffel,
Nice. Okay. That was pretty cool. Master or performer? For a while, I think I tried to get good at like aiming with like Kovacs and shit. And I was like so happy. Like coming home, just all I gotta do is click dots and cylinders and shit. Like I could save money playing video games when all I was doing was like just training the aim. And for a moment, I was like that master mindset. But then, I don't know, I just decided like, oh, there's a lot of good games coming out. I'm just going to go play some of these new games. And that's where Monster Hunter Wilds came in. I mean, and I still have that like master mindset. Like playing Monster Hunter Wilds. But it's cool. I dig it. What's the vibes that everyone's feeling? Like, I'm neither. I'm a magician. I can do things that look really cool, but it does not mean I'm good or even know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. A performer implies practice, and a master practically guarantees it. A magician, on the other hand, focuses on targeted guessing and memorizing the entire process by seeing it once. It sounds awesome until you do the trick and realize you're almost entirely lost and stumbling around in the dark. Yep, according to my kith and kin, I can pick up something for the first time and know exactly what to do or be very close to it. In reality, I know a little bit about a lot of different things, and still, somehow, I'm incredibly average when it comes to trivia. Oh, man. Wait, what is this one? Suggestion for the video could be mental resistance. Like, with some games, you do want to continue playing and finishing it, but something in your mind is either making you do side quests instead of the main story, or you struggle with even pressing play for it. But starting a new game is not a problem at all, or judging several games at once, but nearing finishing ones but nearing finishing ones puts the proverbial brakes on. I mean, currently, what I think is happening in like the video game industry, you know, with the advent of Nintendo and Egba coming out and declaring the $80 and $90 games, more people are just simply going to stop buying new games. More people, I think, will become the mastery mindset. Yes, there will still be performers, but because of just like the market and the target, the video games, like the type of people that video games are aimed towards, um, like people are going back. They're playing older games over and over again. People are like more heavily leaning into like live service games. So more and more people, I think, like to be. It's like honestly, it's like a luxury to be a performer, to go from new game to new game. All right, you got to have money to buy new game and new game. You know what I mean? Like not everybody has the luxury of being on Steam and like just only buying games when there's like a big old giga sale happening, like 50% off. Whoa, you know. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. But overall, cool video. I like it, and keep it up, dude. You make a ton of bangers. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I will catch you on the next one. All right, later.